everybody. Happy Tuesday. I hope everybody's Tuesday is off to a great start. We've been doing these cruise chats now for about a month, and they have actually turned out to be a lot of fun. We get a lot of great questions and get to talk to some of our good friends at everybody's favorite cruise line. So I'm super excited today to talk with my good friend Sarah, who I feel like I'm just seeing you like every week here lately, both in person and on virtual like this. So I'm super happy to have Sarah with Princess Cruises here with us today to talk all things Alaska, Star Princess, Glacier Bay, and lots of other fun things. So we're just going to have a super, super fun time today. For everybody watching out there, make sure that you share the live, comment, drop your questions down below. Let us know where you're from. So we have the expert here today and we can get all the answers that everybody wants. So Sarah, thank you again so much for joining us today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you so much for having me here. And hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be able to talk about Princess in Alaska. I was actually, so just a little bit about myself. I am someone who's been with Princess for a little over a year, and I absolutely love working with Princess. Prior to my role as a national account manager here, I actually was at the marketing and media agency for Princess and Cunard, one of their sister brands. And I always jokingly say that Princess wrote me into this job because they actually took me to Alaska when I was at my last job. And I absolutely fell in love with Princess. I absolutely fell in love with Alaska. And I knew I just needed to work for the company directly. And here I am now. So very happy to be here. Again, love the brand so much. Love working with travel advisors like Donovan. Love coming on these cruise talks and being able to answer any questions you have about Princess. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about Princess and I absolutely love our product. So very excited to be here.
Definitely. No, thank you so much. And, that's one of the cool things I just want to point out before we really dive in with working with a travel advisor. A lot of people don't think about it, but we have those direct relationships with the folks that work at the cruise lines, like Sarah. And, heaven forbid when issues pop up or we have some questions, maybe need a little extra assistance, we have those direct contacts to go to. So it's a lot more fun for my guests versus having to pick up, 1-800 Princess and wait on hold for a little bit. So I just think that's one of the cool things about working with the travel advisors, us having those literally direct relationships where you and I have actually met in person and have chit chatted and talked about Princess and ways to make cruise vacations better, specifically for my clients. So you've been a great help in doing that here lately. So I really appreciate that.
Always happy to help. And yeah, again, it's one of the many benefits and perks. There's so many perks to working with a travel advisor. But like Donovan said, I hope you never have an issue on board. But if there is something that does occur, you do have direct access through him to be able to reach out to me and get those issues solved if something were to come up or if there's a little snafu on board. So definitely a huge benefit here.
So I have to tell you, Sarah, I've been posting a lot more on TikTok here lately, and people are just loving it. Anything I post having to do with Alaska is just going crazy, and people are super excited about Alaska in 2027. And if I understand correctly, that's going to be Princess's biggest year ever in Alaska. I hear something like 8 ships and gosh, like hundreds of voyages and different itineraries. So I know there's a lot to cover with Alaska, and we only have a short amount of time. So we're going to just kind of hit the highlights, if you will. But what can you tell us about Alaska and Princess? Princess is always in that conversation when we're talking about Alaska cruises.
Yeah, definitely. When you think about cruise lines in Alaska, it's almost synonymous with Princess, right? We've been known as the number one cruise line in Alaska for many years, and we have many reasons why we think that is. Princess is one of the only cruise lines that actually owns and operates all of their lodges. So that's something that we're very proud of. We have 5 lodges in Alaska, which allows you to have such incredible vacations and experiences when you're in Alaska. We have 5 national park opportunities for you to be able to experience. Like you said, we have 8 of our 17 ships in Alaska. So that's truly, truly have. In 2026, we actually have our newest ship. She's not even out yet. The Star Princess. You can see her in my background, but she will be coming and joining us later this fall. But she will be in Alaska for the 2026 season. Another huge key differentiator for Princess, apart from owning and operating all 5 of our lodges, is that we actually are one of the few cruise lines that get to visit Glacier Bay National Park. This is such a huge, huge deal just due to the fact that not every cruise line gets to visit Glacier Bay, and Glacier
Right.
Bay has a 2 cruise ship limit permit per day. So that experience, being able to go in and have the full ship do a full turn all the way around 360 for you to be able to see the incredible views of Glacier Bay is a huge, huge key difference.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I always have, it never fails whenever I'm having new client calls with, new guests of mine, and I ask them, what are the most important things about your Alaska cruise? And almost always one of the very first answers is always Glacier Bay. Um,
Mhm.
but I find that not a lot of people know all the different things that happen when you're in Glacier Bay. So I know it's really like an all day or most of the day experience. And there's kind of special events, if you will, going on board the ship. You were talking about as you make your way actually into the bay and are sailing through and to the main glaciers, the ship will position itself and do that 360. Can you touch a little bit on just kind of what some of those onboard experiences are like on your Glacier Bay day, if you will?
Yeah, of course. So we have an award-winning programming, like I said, and I think that also gives credit to why Princess has won so many awards of being the number one cruise line in Alaska. We actually will have park rangers or experts come on board, and they will actually be answering questions live time, narrating, giving expert commentary while you are experiencing that. If you have specific questions, you can definitely ask those rangers or those experts that are on board. And then for children, we have amazing programming on board. So it's really great where they have these educational programmings on top of also having just a lot of fun activities um, for you to be able to experience when you're on board, especially going through Glacier Bay National Park.
Cool. So one of the other things I know, so if maybe Glacier Bay is not on your itinerary, right? So we'll talk about Star Princess, for example, our newest ship that's in our background here today. Doesn't visit Glacier Bay, but a lot of people think if they're not going to Glacier Bay, they won't get to see glaciers, but that is actually not true, right?
Nope. We have a lot of going through the Inside Passage. There's a lot of glacier viewing opportunities that we have through like the Dawes Glacier scenic cruising. There's a lot. So if you prioritize viewing glaciers, definitely reach out to Donovan and have him look through our itineraries to be able to provide to you because we do have those glacier viewing opportunities in more than one location.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the nice things, honestly, that I like whenever I'm searching for cruises. Right, Princess is always in that conversation. One of Princess's sister lines, Holland America, is always in that conversation. But one of the things I really love about recommending Princess is the fact that there are so many ships to choose from. They're all very
Mhm.
different. You have big ships like Star Princess. You have smaller ships that are going to offer more intimate, different itineraries. So, for me personally, there's just so much variety with Princess when it comes to Alaska. And again, length of sailing, there's 7 nights. If you want to go to Alaska longer, there's 10 plus night itineraries. But one of the things that I found too that's just really interesting that not a lot of people know about is actually a cruise tour. So I've been explaining that to some of the new clients that I've been talking with and kind of walking them through there, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I've never even heard of that. I've watched so many YouTube videos and researched about Alaska, but I've never even heard about a cruise tour." And I know that's one of the things that Princess is really, really good at. So can you kind of give us an idea of what the heck is a cruise tour?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm actually going to pull up a slide real quickly just so it's a little bit easier to explain what a cruise
Yeah,
tour
that would
product
be
is
great. We
fully.
love
So
visuals.
Right? Yeah. I'm
Perfect.
also a very visual person, so I'm like, this always helps me as well. But what is a cruise tour? So, a cruise tour product for Princess includes a cruising portion of 7 days, and you visit three different ports, as well as you visit Glacier Bay National Park. Then you go on a 500-mile trek through the heart of Alaska and this incredible train. And let me pull up a photo real quick so you can see that has that
Yeah.
glass dome feature, which is absolutely incredible. They also have expert commentary on board. So you can be sitting with your friends and family, literally taking in the beautiful great lands that Alaska has to offer. You can see animals, you can see all these different things. And they also have food and bar services on board. There's so much that we offer with our train portion. And for example, you can start off with the cruise or you can end up with the cruise. But in this
Mhm.
example, we're going to start off with you started on the cruise, then you
Okay.
go on the train. It takes you directly to Denali National Park, where we
Right.
have one of our lodges. So it's really, really great because, again, that cruise tour product has you experiencing the cruising portion, the train portion, and then going into the lodges. Earlier, I was mentioning how Princess owns and operates all five of our lodges, which is a very different key differentiator. This is really important because you can be on the cruise, you put your suitcase out, the attendants will come through, pick your bags up, and when you get to your lodge in Denali, your bags will be in your cabin. So you have peace of mind knowing that it's Princess from point A all the way to point C, B to C, and you don't have to worry about your larger luggage being lost or having some sort of an issue because again, it's done entirely through Princess. So you again have that peace of mind knowing that everything is done through Princess. And then, like I was mentioning, all of the cruise tours have a lodge portion that visit Denali National Park, but we also have, like I mentioned, 4 other lodges. So your cruise tour can actually have you visiting other lodges, and they're all so beautiful and offer such different things. Some are more off the beaten path, some are a little bit more um, built in terms of going into a town and going into a little area. But I'm very excited because I'm actually leaving this Friday to experience our Alaska lodges for the first time. So I'm very excited to be able to have
That's so
firsthand
awesome.
experience of
I'm
these.
jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
I'm
really
like so excited.
I think that's really cool, and it's really I learned this just as I've been researching and learning more about the Princess Cruise tours, but it's really neat that because again, one of the things I hear whenever I'm talking to new clients about Alaska is they want to do the train, right? And so I explain to them when you're talking about the train, you have cruise tour that allows you to ride the scenic, Blast Dome train, or a lot of times you can do that in Skagway. But it's really cool because when you do it on a cruise tour, it's just Princess. So you're not there with anybody else. You have the whole train to yourself. And like you said, it's very seamless. You don't have to worry about your luggage.
Mhm.
All of that is transported from place to place. You literally just have to show up and be ready to have the best vacation of your life. And Princess literally takes care of everything else. So I think that's really, really cool. And, you know, I always think about Alaska in kind of a couple different baby steps, if you will. So, right, a lot of people think Alaska is like it is a bucket list, but it's that one and done trip. And I find that whenever people go that first time, they're hooked and they want to go back again and again. It never ends up being that once in a lifetime trip. But a lot of people start off with that, basic 7 day cruise, maybe round trip from Seattle or Vancouver, and they get to visit, three ports, if you will, and they're hooked and they want more. And so for me, whenever people are wanting to go on that second or that third trip to Alaska, but they're wanting something a little different or they're wanting more, cruise tour is the place to do it because you get to go so much farther inland. And a lot of people, I don't think, unless you literally look at a map of an Alaskan cruise, but you're really just hitting such a small section of Alaska, if you will, along the coast. But perfect, yeah. I mean, you're literally hitting just that little section at the bottom. But when you do the cruise tour, you go so much farther into Alaska and have such a more immersive experience. And to your point, I think Princess is one of the best. Not every cruise line even offers cruise tour. You only have a few that actually do so.
Yeah, it's a great point because the inside passage is just that little closed loop that they have right there. And so it is funny where I oftentimes have a lot of guests who come on board and they literally are like, I want more time on land. Like, I want to experience and have more time on land. And so a lot of times people will actually book cruise tours and such like that just because they regretted only having such short days in ports and they're like, I need to come back and experience the land portion fully.
Right.
um, I want to do a quick little call out again, another good benefit and perk to having a travel advisor. Donovan actually has this exclusive
Yep.
access to this incredible offer that you can only get if you work with a travel advisor.
That's
So
right.
if you're interested in Alaska cruise tour, definitely reach out to him and let him know. Because again, you are not going to be able to find an offer like that. You get free dining experiences, you get free tour upgrades, and so much more in this package if you book with a travel advisor. So definitely reach out to Donovan and get access to that if you're interested in a
Yep.
cruise tour.
No, I'm really glad that you mentioned that. It's funny that you do. I was working earlier this morning on my weekly email that I send out, and this week's is all about Alaska, specifically for next year, and kind of looking at some of the exclusive pricing that I'm able to share with Princess. But I have a big call out in there about that exclusive cruise tour that you're mentioning and what all is included with it. So it's great that you brought that up today because yeah, a lot of people don't realize there are some special perks that you can get when working with a travel advisor, not to mention just that personalized high touch service. And it's funny because what I hear whenever I'm talking to uh, clients who are going on that first trip to Alaska, I hear overwhelmed because they don't know where to start. They kind of know a couple things that they want to do. They want to see wildlife or they want to see the glaciers, but they don't even know where to start. And working with
Mhm.
a travel advisor like myself can make what would otherwise be a super stressful, vacation. It can make it just so much simpler. And again, like I was saying earlier, you just have to show up and just be ready to have the best time of your life. So it's definitely a way to make your vacation a little bit better. So, one of the things I wanted to touch on, so again, I always kind of my go-to cruise line, Princess, when we're talking Alaska. But we have a lot of families too that cruise. I have kids myself, and a lot of people may not necessarily think of Princess just right off the bat when you're talking about family cruising. But I would wager to say that Princess is actually a great fit for families with children going to Alaska. So can you kind of give us an idea of um, what activities and kids club on Alaska?
Yeah, so we have three different kids clubs, and I kind of alluded to this earlier too. This is our North to Alaska program that we have, and again, this is one of the main reasons why we've won many awards of being known as the number one cruise line in Alaska, some for over 2 decades, right? So there's such great programming where we have things like lumberjack shows or even totem pole carving demonstrations. And again, what's really great about Princess is they have a great way of merging the educational aspects with a lot of fun on board. So your kids are never going to be bored. I love sharing this one story of my colleague. He's now retired, but he had his little granddaughter who joined, and they had a whole family vacation on Princess. And multi generational family, you're going to see a lot on Princess, especially in Alaska.
Oh, definitely.
Families traveling just together, but his granddaughter, the first day they dropped her off at the kids club, she was crying and she was so upset and she wanted to be picked up. And then the next day, a kid saw her at dinner and was like, hey, you should come back and this, that, that. So she gave it another go. And my colleague was like, I have never seen her after that point. Like, she was always in the kids club playing when they had the educational things, or when they were in port, they were, of course, with family. But when they were on board, she just wanted to be with the other kids in the kids club. They had a kids park ranger program, so she loved doing that. And it's truly, we have award-winning itineraries and not itineraries, excuse me, programming with children's programming on board as well. So it's always a funny story. I love sharing that he's like, yeah, after like the second day, she was always in the club, always just playing with the other kids, and she was so proud of all the things she learned. So it does a really, really good job on board. Another thing I absolutely love and I think is really cool is we have this awesome shore excursion where you can go
Okay.
fishing. And if you catch something like halibut, salmon, whatever you catch during your excursion, they will actually cook it in the main dining room for you to be able to
That is
experience and
so
eat, which I
cool.
think is so different and so cool. And I know families absolutely love it because it's such a different experience. And especially if you have young children who love fishing or just the family who loves fishing together, having that experience is absolutely so cool.
No, I'm so glad that you mentioned that because literally in some calls earlier this morning with new clients, one of the things that stuck out is, my husband or my son loves fishing. And then so I start telling them, like, hey, you can actually do this experience on your cruise. And they are literally blown away because that's not
Right?
just out there. Like, I don't read that on the cruise boards or on YouTube. Like, that's not like public information that's out there, but it is so true. And that's where I think it's just so unique that an Alaska vacation, right? And it's no secret, but it is such a different experience from a Caribbean cruise. It's so much more immersive. You're really in the destination. But again, the beauty of taking an Alaska cruise on Princess is that you're not only pairing truly a bucket list destination, but an amazing ship with an amazing company with great activities and entertainment and food and all of the things, so that it's really a complete package, if you will. So,
Hmm.
um, can you talk a little bit about? So I kind of just alluded to it, but entertainment. I know Princess is really highly regarded in terms of entertainment with Broadway style shows, movies under the stars, or just a couple things that come to mind right off the bat. What does entertainment look like on a Princess cruise?
Yeah, there's so much entertainment, which is absolutely incredible. We have a lot of dining opportunities too that have our dining venues that have um, those type of live music entertainment if you like having that. So we have O'Malley's, which is like an Irish pub, and they'll have live performances, live music there. We also have our Crooners Bar, which will also have things like jazz music and just lots of great things. I'm always a big fan of our they call it Princess Live, but it's usually the area where they
Hmm.
do things like the newlywed game and stuff like that. So lots of great entertainment. And then, like you said, we do have Broadway style shows, some
Hmm.
actually with notable directors. His name is slipping me, but whoever composed Wicked actually did one of our shows on board as well, which is
Okay.
really cool. And so we have these incredible um live theater performances. What I love about Princess is they have things and they have such a wide variety of things where you can find things that have more of the classic music, maybe some of the earlier classic songs that you like, maybe even things like opera music and stuff that are a little bit maybe more not so much for the young littles, but then they also have
Yeah.
really great entertainment that they have like
There's
recent
something for
updated songs
everybody.
and pop songs. Exactly. They have something for everybody. And even if you're not that big into like the pop music scene, if you go to the shows, you still will have a great time. They do a really great job doing these productions on board. And it's almost something that I remember even watching where I'm blown away at the things that they can do on board. And I almost forget that we're on a cruise ship because I'm like, I can't imagine dancing and having the ship rock or anything like that. So it
Right.
is really remarkable all the production that they do. The Sun and Star Princess have this really cool new structure where it's called the
Yeah.
Princess Arena, and it's this kind of surround, and it's a really cool dynamic shifting stage as well. So the stage kind of changes per each performance, and the seating arrangement also can change and mirror. And so there's a lot of cool differences we have on that ship exclusively as well because we have a new stage type.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you mentioned that. I actually just booked some new clients of mine on Star Princess for May of 2027. They are going to be carnival converts, if you will, over to the Princess family for Alaska. And they're really excited about the ship. And I'll tell you, when I'm talking to people, Star Princess is coming up a lot, more and more and more. So people are certainly hearing about Princess's newest ship. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what is going on with Star Princess and her older sister, Sun Princess. Um, I think everybody would love to just see and hear a little bit more. And then I'll kind of tease for those out there that maybe have cruised, say, in the retreats of the world, the yacht clubs of the world, but are looking for that special, ship within a ship experience. You're going to be right at home on Star Princess, so we can definitely talk about that too.
Yeah, so I don't know about you. I personally am a huge, huge, huge foodie, and I love just going on a cruise and eating. I love
Yes,
all the free
so
dining
much food.
opportunities, but so much food. And I forget how many restaurants, how many new restaurants we have on the Sun and Star Princess, but we have so many
It's a
incredible
lot. I know
30
it's a lot.
different restaurants and bars. I just pulled it up. 30 different restaurants and bars on the Sun and Star
That's so
Princess.
many.
It's so many options to choose from. You definitely will have many, many, many options to be able to just see what you like. But I am actually mixed Japanese, so I love like teppanyaki, which is like that hibachi style. I had a hot pot at sea, which I never thought I'd be able to
Yeah,
have at sea, and it was such a cool experience.
that is cool.
Um, Another thing I love is that we have a lot of our tried and true favorites still on board on the Sun and Star Princess. So we
Right.
have our Crown Grill, Sabatinis. I mentioned O'Malley's Irish Pub that we still have. And something else that I think is really cool is we have a lot of cool partnerships. So Brito, the artist, we have a dining experience called Love by Brito, and
Yeah.
it's a menu that is all just kind of cultivated by him. Very artsy, very very cool. And also, I don't know if you've ever heard of Magic Castle. Do you know what that is?
I don't know. Tell me more.
No worries. Yeah. So Magic Castle is this really cool exclusive magician's house that they have in Los Angeles. And what's really cool about it is it's very exclusive, it's invite only, and they have these incredible magicians again that are from all over the world that go there. And it's this um almost like hotel-esque like experience that you get to see, and it's a
Okay.
very exclusive opportunity they have in Los Angeles and in Hollywood. We
Okay.
actually have a partnership with Magic Castle where we have some of their magicians on rotation who come on board, and we have this speakeasy like experience where you go into this area that has really cool craft cocktails. I had one coming out of like a chest that had all this smoke coming out of it. And it's really cool because we saw close-up magic with cards, and then we go into a further back room where they had a theater and they did other magic where I literally could not explain to you what I saw. It was so cool. I still to this day have no idea how they did any of the tricks that they did. But it's a really cool experience that you can have on board, which not many people know about too, because it is this kind of secretive thing. But it is a really cool experience to have that. Apart from food, like I already mentioned, the entertainment on board is so great. And just if you look at this ship too, oh my gosh, I'm not even sharing my screen. Let me pull it up real quick.
Yeah, I think I had just read Princess announced some of the entertainment or shows for Star Princess, so Illuminate and Meridian. Does that sound right?
Yes, and we do have other things as well. So there is a lot that we just have on board with our shows and our programming, but lots of things to be able to do. Something that I absolutely love about the ship is the ship itself. It's so beautiful. It is massive, so definitely great walking shoes if you have if you decide to go because you will be walking a lot. It's a massive ship.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but it's beautiful, and as you can see, there's that giant dome at the top of the ship.
Yeah. What's
That
what's going
is
on in
an
that dome? What's
awesome
going on there?
Yeah, the dome is so cool. It's an awesome lounge area that was really inspired by like the Mediterranean, just those tiers. And so there's
Okay.
great lounging in that area. They actually have an indoor outdoor pool. I don't know how much you would use that in Alaska, but in the Caribbean, it's really great.
Yeah.
And then also at nighttime, it transforms where they cover the indoor part of the pool and it literally becomes where they have karaoke nights, where they have the DJ come out and people will
Wow.
go there to lounge, to dance, to drink. It's a really
Okay.
great energy and vibe. And having all those windows, it's so cool being able to look up and see the stars and see all these things. It's a really cool experience.
That sounds that sounds amazing. I'm like, sign me up yesterday, right?
Right, exactly. And then one other call out real quickly is the giant sphere on the side as well. You can
Okay.
see that the other blue windows over there. That's where the heart of Princess, the ship, is at. So that's where the piazza actually is. And so for three different decks, we have the piazza where you can have different dining experiences. There's different lounges, different bars. Um, it's really great because you can be eating Thai sushi and looking out and seeing the beautiful waters or the beautiful scenery of, Alaska. They have the International Cafe there, but also because it's the piazza, the center of the in the heart of the ship, they'll have live performances and shows there.
Right.
My favorite thing was I went and I got a late night snack at the International Cafe, and as I was walking up, there was a performer who was doing aerial silks while playing the violin.
Oh
And I
wow.
was just blown away because I'm like, how do you do that while playing an instrument and also being so high up off the ground? And then
Right.
I was absolutely blown away. And I'm like, and you're on a cruise ship. Like that's crazy. So it was really, really cool. There's so much that goes on in that area. There's always something going on. People love hanging out there. And especially in Alaska, it's great because you can enjoy the indoors, stay warm, and then look out and see the beautiful views of Alaska.
And I want to point out too, I was just as you were talking, looking at some of the features on Star Princess, and I know one of the just super kind of popular hot things right now is pickleball. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a pickleball or pickleball courts on Star and Sun Princess, right?
Yes, there are.
Perfect. I can just imagine you're sitting there cruising, into Alaska. You've got the mountains or the glaciers behind you, and then you're playing pickleball. So, I mean, that just sounds like a great time to me.
Yeah, me as well. And I was so happy because we've heard feedback. People are like, we want more pickleball. So we were like, we understand and we will get it for you.
So, okay, so I do have to ask you. So, I'm here in Star Princess. There's so much to do, from activities to entertainment to dining. And you mentioned it yourself. It's a huge ship, which it is pretty big, especially in today's world of mega ships, if you will. But tell me, so if you're somebody that loves the big ship amenities and things to do, but you're not all about big ship crowds and other people, Star and Sun Princess have something called the Sanctuary that's newer to Princess that is literally perfect for you. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on in the Sanctuary?
Yeah, definitely. And before I actually jump into all the sanctuary and the great benefits that it has, I do want to say when I went on the Sun Princess, I was really worried because I typically like a smaller cruise experience too. I don't want to be overwhelmed by the giant crowds and everything. What
Right.
was really cool about having such a big ship experience was apart from maybe visiting the theater and seeing like they're going to venues that have large crowds, because they have so many venues on board, I never felt overwhelmed. I never felt like it was too crowded. There was always a place for me to be able to sit when I went to the lounge and specific areas. Obviously, there might be harder times if there's like a really cool performance going on, but it was one of those things that I thoroughly enjoyed. And I went during the holiday time frame, like I was going in December, so there was a lot of families on board, a lot of people on board. Um, but I never felt overwhelmed, which was really, really great. But if you are like, I don't want to risk anything at all, and I want that luxury ship within a ship concept, we have
Yeah.
the sanctuary section now,
Okay.
which I'm so excited about. with Princess, it's our first time being in this space. So with that, it allows you to have that next level service. You actually get the Princess Premier bundle included, which is seen as our all inclusive bundle, where
Okay.
it's unlimited drinks, unlimited specialty dining. You also get access to the Sanctuary restaurant, which is an anytime dining. You don't need to have any restrictions as a Sanctuary Collection member. You just get to walk in and you can eat whenever you want, which is a really great benefit and perk.
That's
You
amazing.
also get right? Yeah. So you don't need to worry about scheduling things, worrying about not getting your time slot if it's overbooked. And so you have a really, really great thing with the Sanctuary restaurant, but then also getting unlimited specialty dining as part of the Princess Premier bundle.
That's key.
Like,
That's
that's
key.
awesome, right? Yeah, and I'm like, especially for Sun and Star, having 30 different restaurants to choose from, like that is absolutely incredible that you can use your Premier bundle
You
for
could
that. Um,
you
we
could
also
literally
have the
go.
Sanctuary
You
Club.
could you could. I'm sorry. You could literally go the entire cruise, right, with Sanctuary, or even just having Princess Premier. But you could go the entire cruise and literally never even step foot in the main dining room, and still not experience all of the different dining options that are on board Sun and Star Princess. So I just wanted to kind of point that out to everybody that that is really unique with those two ships.
Yeah, definitely. It's our first time having this many options. And then again, with our new Princess Premier packages that we've recently updated within the past few years, it is definitely something that I think makes so much sense for this product. Another thing with our Sanctuary Collection product is that we have a Sanctuary Club. This area is absolutely incredible. It is a adults only um, lounge area that has a private pool, that has all these great cabanas, all these great lounge spaces. There's bars there as well, and they have craft cocktails and menus. What's really cool about the Sanctuary Club as well is they will have wellness programming occasionally. So if you want to have a yoga class, they'll sometimes do that, and you can join them and have this awesome view on the top deck. It's such a great experience. When I was there, it was so hard to pry my body off those lounge chairs. I would get the craft drinks, I would get the sushi they had available. It was such a cool experience. Just to have, and definitely I could have imagined myself staying in the Sanctuary Club for majority of my sailing, which I think has it's a big praise to it.
That I have to agree, and I'll tell you what. I don't know if you have a picture of the Sunday area. If you don't, it's okay. But I have looked at some pictures, and from your padded loungers and the different seating, the pool, the hot tubs, um, it literally looks amazing. I can only imagine spending your day up there as again you're cruising through Alaska. I don't know that there's a better place other than your own balcony, I will say, that you could spend your cruise. It looks amazing. And I wanted to ask, I've seen some pictures um, within Sanctuary Club of like getting a glass of champagne or something like through this
Yes.
like
I
wall.
don't
Can
have the
you
photo on me or in this deck that I have prepared, but there is this really, really cool feature that we have where there is this cool, like, wall, and then I think it's around 3 p.m. they'll just bring a little bell out, and every time you ring the bell, a hand will pop up and champagne will come out,
it just
and it's
appears.
just such a cool experience. Yeah, I'm like, I love it. It was so fun, so cool. I have a personal photo on my phone, so maybe I can send it to you so you can show people later, but it is really, really cool to be able to have that experience.
No, definitely. And I'm gonna look, I may have a picture here that I can pop up really fast. But one of the really cool things too about Sanctuary Club is that you can actually be a part of Sanctuary Club and not actually be in a suite. So you can book in a balcony. There are balcony rooms as part of Sanctuary Club, and so you can kind of get a little bit more, friendly price point, if you will. And a fun fact: I mentioned that couple that I booked on Star Princess for May of 27, and there's that picture there. So yeah, that is just so cool. But literally, I booked these folks in the Sanctuary Club in a balcony stateroom, and it actually priced lower than the premium deluxe balcony on the ship. So just saying, it's not as expensive as some people might just naturally think it is when you hear words like sanctuary. It really can be a great value,
Mhm.
especially considering, like you said, that Princess Premier is included with that.
Exactly, yeah, and that's one of the things is it's great that we were kind of late to the program and getting into that luxury space. But what's good about being late to the program is that we were able to see what the other cruise lines were doing and really hear feedback from what guests wanted. And we were
Hmm.
able to say, okay, so you do want to have luxury stateroom category types. You have the best of the best rooms. But then we did see that some cruise lines only have suites, and you might be somebody who wants to experience a luxury product, but you don't want to pay for a suite. So we have mini suites available. We have the deluxe balconies available as well, which is
Right.
really, really great. Um, and then not only that, a huge differentiator too is not all cruise lines offer their packages within their luxury concept. So that was something
Right.
that we also wanted to include because if you're having that luxury concept, you should have that luxury, right, of having the packages, and it should all be included already. So when you price that out, it even becomes an even greater value. Um, and yeah, I love that you had that experience. You were like, wait a second, this actually came out cheaper. Like this is good. So
I know.
again, another tidbit and another pro to work with your travel advisors because they know how to look for things.
Even I'll admit, even I was surprised, but I think that's a good call out of why booking early is always the best way to go. There's kind of this perception, if you will, in the cruising world where you can get these last minute deals or waiting to the last minute, and that I would say that may have been true once upon a time, but certainly in the last couple of years, what I've seen as I'm helping clients and even just booking my own cruises, if you don't book early, you run the risk of not getting on the ship at all. I mean, these ships are filling up,
Mhm.
especially when you talk about destinations like Alaska. You mentioned earlier like multi-gen family trips. You've got grandma and grandpa, parents, kids going, but you always you want to be together. That's going to be almost impossible if you don't book ahead. But really booking out farther in advance, you lock in that price, you lock in that peace of mind of having the exact cabins that you want, and then you don't have to worry about it. And of course, if there's a price drop later down the road, that's where I come in and can help, see if that is the best deal for you at the end of the day. But certainly booking ahead is really the best way to go, especially talking about Alaska.
And honestly, too, there's some sailings we have for 2026 where some of the ships have completely sold out of the balcony cabins. And if
Yep.
you want to have a really great experience when you're in Alaska, I always recommend at least having a balcony because you're going to want to have those days where you just want to stay in your cabin and be able to
Yep.
walk out and just experience Alaska. And so we have many ships for next year that are already booking up. And I have
Yep.
a lot of people who are making groups for 2027 already. And they're like, we have family reunions, we have friends and families experiencing Alaska for the first time. And they're booking up those balconies. So,
Already. I mean, literally already. And so, yeah, I mean, it just makes a lot of sense to get ahead of the curve. And again,
mhm,
with Princess, one of the things I love about working with Princess and recommending them is you're always generally working with a refundable deposit. So again, should plans change down the road, you're not on the hook for all this money tied up, and that's not true for all cruise lines out there. So I think that helps give people peace of mind about booking,
mhm,
a year and a half, maybe even 2 years in advance on some of these trips.
mhm.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
Sarah, we have been going for quite a minute, and I want to be really respectful of your time. I did want to plug just so that everybody knows, and I think I had mentioned this to you when we met in person here a couple weeks ago, but our agency actually is hosting a group cruise on the beautiful Emerald Princess in April of 2027, heading over to Hawaii. And I have to tell you, this idea actually came from a very good client of mine who was like, I want to go to Hawaii, but I don't want to fly and deal with the hotels and all of that. I want to do it on a cruise. And when you talk about Hawaii and cruising, there's really not a ton of ways to do it. You can cruise in Hawaii, You can do one-way cruises going from like Vancouver or Seattle that end in Hawaii, or you can do a Princess 15 or 16-day round trip from Los Angeles. And so we're doing the 16-day Hawaii itinerary on Emerald Princess in April 27. And believe it or not, we already have something like 20 people on this cruise, so about 10 or 11 staterooms. And I only have a handful left, and we have some amazing rates on there. Um, but just really, really fast, can you kind of give us just highlights of what does that 16 night itinerary going over to Hawaii look like with Princess?
Yeah, so obviously, when you're leaving out of either San Francisco or Los Angeles to get to Hawaii, there's quite a few sea days, but luckily, there's lots of great entertainment that we have on board. We have great restaurants for you to be able to be at and lounge at too, which is really nice. But our Alaska, or not Alaska, our Hawaii programming is really, really great. And what's really cool about our itineraries here as well is that you can visit four different Hawaiian islands. Not only that, we offer such a wide range of itineraries and how long they can be, like Donovan was already mentioning, but having 16-day to even 32 days and more. And we have three of our beautiful ships there. Not only that, I can't remember, does your itinerary have more shore where you have longer times in ports?
We have a late stay in Honolulu. So we're in Honolulu from like 7 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. So a really, really long day there.
Yeah. And that's awesome. So not all cruise lines have that availability to be able to stay in port for that long, but it really allows you to be able to experience the island for an even greater time. Some people do really great excursions or maybe even just explore themselves, and you have a huge safety net. Obviously, make sure you get there before 11 and get on board. You don't want to be left, but it's really great to be able to have that more time ashore, and having an itinerary that has that. So again, you really get a lot of great bang for your buck when you're able to do that. And again, it offers such great experiences just because again you can be there fully. And some people have even had moments where they do an excursion in the morning and then they have the afternoon and nighttime for free. So
Right.
again, it's a really great benefit and perk to booking this specific itinerary.
Yeah, it's going to be a super fun cruise. It's 5 sea days each way, which I will tell you. I did a cruise earlier this year, transatlantic, that was 6 sea days, and let me tell you, those sea days were some of the most relaxing days of my entire life. So don't sleep on having that many sea days. And plus, on a great ship like Emerald Princess, there's tons to do. So if you're a more active person, you're certainly not going to be bored. But you have 5 sea days there. You hit 4 islands there in Hawaii, again with that late stay in Honolulu. 5 days back, we make a quick port of call in Ensenada before we're going to head back into LA. So like I was saying, I literally just have a few cabins left at our group rates, along with group onboard credit. So if you're interested in joining this group, I did drop the link in the chat if you're on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll drop it in TikTok as well. But certainly reach out and grab those last few cabins that I have. The prices are actually really good for this long of a cruise. And then, of course, you can always add the Princess Plus or Premier to make it basically an all-inclusive experience. But we're going to have a lot of fun. We're planning some group activities. We're going to do group goodie bags and amenity bags and some group shore excursions. So it's really going to be a lot of fun time with other people that are excited about seeing Alaska or Hawaii. I'm sorry.
And I
We talked
personally,
about
or
Alaska
yeah,
so much.
Hawaii. No, I did the same thing. Don't worry. I actually just have my partner, his family, his parents, both actually just came back. I think, or they went earlier this year, was it? Maybe late last year. But they actually did the 16-day to Hawaii and they only have positive things to say about it. So if you're able, if you want to, I highly recommend you doing it. I'm jealous because I really want to do our Hawaii products. I love Hawaii. I've only
Yeah.
been once, but it is a really, really great way to experience the islands and being able to not worry about transportation because obviously the cruise ship does that for you.
Yeah, no, it really just makes it so seamless. And you always hear about Hawaii being expensive when you're talking about lodging, food. Obviously, when you're there, you're going to want to do activities, and so you really kind of cut all that away when you do it on a cruise ship, and you get to go back
Hmm.
and enjoy the ship at night. You only unpack one time, so it's going to be a great time. Like I said, we did drop that
Exactly.
link in the chat, and we'll drop it in TikTok. But certainly, you can find it on our website, elktravelco.com. But with that, Sarah, I do want to let you go. We have gone on overtime today, but really appreciate you coming on and talking a lot about Alaska. Again, whenever I'm talking to new clients and existing clients about Alaska, Princess is always top of the list of what I like to recommend just because it's a great company and has great people like you to partner with us. So thank you so much for
Oh,
your
thank you.
time. Really appreciate it. And then just one last plug, if we can help anybody that's watching plan your next cruise vacation, all you have to do is reach out. We always start with a 15 or 20-minute phone call to really get a good idea of what you're looking for and what your past cruising or vacationing experience looks like. And then we work really hard to find you that perfect ship, perfect itinerary, and the perfect cruise. So reach out. We would love to help you. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a great day. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll have to do this
Thank
again in
you.
the future.
Definitely. Yeah. Thanks everybody so much for your time and thanks for having
Thanks.
me.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks. Bye, everybody.